So, truth to be told, I actually quit my job before I found out about business. And that was probably a very risky thing to do. I wouldn't recommend anyone following the same path. So 6 months into my corporate job, that's what I thought I always wanted. The idea of, putting suit and tie, walking into a 80 story building and in the financial district of San Francisco, networking to a bunch of like finance people, consulting people. I thought that's what I wanted. But 3 months in, I was miserable. I had to spend probably about 12 hours, including commuting to work. I didn't really have time to do anything else, and the work was just, a lot of work, a lot of talking, but also just solely remote, on a computer. And I met a lot of interesting people. The role that I had was a lot of like young folks, like fresh out of college, like me. And even my manager is only like 2 or 3 years older than me. So the people I work with were great. But the job itself is not what I imagined, and I thought that I would enjoy and stuff, but it actually didn't work out. So 3 months in, I decided to try my best to like perform at the highest level as I can. So on my fourth month, I think it was August of 2022. So I was basically the top. I think I was within the top five performer of my role as a client services associate on that month. And I thought that would make me feel, great and give me like some momentum to continue the job. But I realized that I didn't like all of the corporate structure, all of the office politics, and what you need to sacrifice in order to move up to the ladder of the command chain. I don't feel like we have a lot of freedom if we continue on that path. So after 6 months, I decided to quit my job. Luckily, I have some saving. So I was, it was kind of crazy, but I was quit my job, my corporate job in San Francisco, and then the next day after I quit, I signed up for Lyft, and then I just be a Lyft driver in San Francisco. I did that just to, make enough money to pay the bills while I figure out what I'm trying to do. So I remember I was driving for Lyft like 4 or 5 hours, and then later on the rest of the day, I just went to a library in San Francisco and then just did all the research about starting my own business. I looked into like e-commerce, like Amazon FBA, all of that, and then eventually moved back to Sacramento, and then found the business. Decided to proceed, move forward, and then now I'm here. You know what? It was scary, but I think I'm in a unique position that I had enough saving so that I don't have to worry about paying my bills. I think that's probably the biggest difference for me compared to all the people who trying to quit their job and started their own thing. I know that if I don't work for another year, I'm still gonna be fine. At that point that I was working at my corporate job, I always talk about what people think about me. Like my cousins are pharmacist, engineer, like they have higher prestige, in their career and in society in general, like all perceived that way. So whenever I go home for dinner, my parents always ask about how am I doing, or are you going to become manager, sometime soon. So I think that pressure me into following the corporate role and that pathway. But then I realized that, I think I read somewhere online that in 100 years, after you die, nobody gonna remember who you are, even the people in your family. So, it doesn't matter what other people think about you. If it's not important then, then why is it important now? So I quitted my job without, letting my parents know, without maybe only my one or two good friends know about that. And then even the whole story of driving Lyft and stuff like that, I didn't know until I moved back. I knew that if I continue following that corporate path, I just won't have the freedom that I always wish for. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that most business owners pursue, not necessarily because of the money, because a lot of us probably make less money when we start our own business rather than doing the full-time job, but it's about the freedom. It was scary, but I look back, I'm still glad that I did that.